happy May. I wanted to show you guys what is growing in my garden, and it's been a lot of fun this past week, well, this past month actually, and I just wanted to let you know what has been growing. We have 5 main beds and then this little bed by the house, so we'll start here. This is my son's bed. Not much has been growing back here, but in the front here, we've already pulled, there were 4 or 5, I think, radishes here, and we harvested those and left this one because it is bolting and it's going to make some beautiful flowers. I believe that little thing right there is a garlic clove that we planted. Over here he has 4 beans. I don't know what variety they are, but it's beans that we've kept from last year. In our first bed here, first I wanted to show you guys our notorious parsley bush. At this point, it is bolting and I'm just waiting for these to open up. I want to see what color parsley flowers are because I don't know, and I'm not gonna look it up. I want it to be a surprise. First bed, let's start on this side. Our lettuce has been amazing. I've been harvesting it like, I'd say weekly. Every about week I will get a strainer full of lettuce. I planted new radishes and they're coming up. These are the original radish plants. I've pulled a bunch of them, but these last ones I'm letting bolt, well, letting bloom. And they're just these really beautiful flowers. Here we have carrots, a row of carrots that are doing wonderful. Next, this is mustard greens, and they've just been food for the local bug life. There's a scallion at the end of this row that just grew naturally, but you can see they've been chomping on the lettuce, which I don't really care because, not the lettuce, the mustard greens. I don't really like mustard greens, so if they want to eat my mustard greens and not the rest of the plants in my garden, I will let them. You can see, well, I'll show you as we're looking through. There's a bunch of volunteer tomato plants, which I'm actually pretty excited about. I planted some peppers, but I think it's still too cool here. The nights don't get extremely warm for them to germinate, so there's nothing there except weeds right now, except for this dude, a little baby tomato plant. And then here's our broccoli. I'm just letting it go to flower because it's too hot to produce a head. You can see right there, it's not very compact. It's gonna open up. Here we have onions that I planted. Our beets are getting huge. Hopefully we'll be harvesting those pretty soon. This is a row of radish slash spinach. Don't know what happened there. That spinach is about to flower. Again, it's pretty hot out here. And I'm probably just gonna pull the spinach out soon and just eat it. And we're waiting for the radishes in there to finish up. I have a row of a different variety of mustard greens, and they are all flowering, which is very exciting. And this is another row of radishes. And of course, our parsley bush. Over here, there's not much going on, except for weeds, of course. I did buy this oregano plant and plant it, but I made the mistake of not unwinding the roots. The roots were pretty root bound and I just didn't unwind it. I should have, and I didn't. So it hasn't been growing. It's just been there, unfortunately. That was the first bed. Here's the second bed. It got hit with pretty hard rain. So you can see a lot of these are scallion tops, by the way. They flower, but these are onions and they just got hit pretty bad with the rain. I might cut the ones that have fallen over off and put them in whatever. We eat them all the time and they're delicious. All this empty space in here, I have planted red onions, so we are waiting for them to come up. Those ones that are already up, you can see, those were from seed. And they've just been taking their time growing. I like growing from bulbs, actually, more than seed. But you can see the volunteer tomatoes. This tomato cage is not in the correct place. I was trying to put 2 in 1 cage, but I was like, no, that's not a good idea. They get really big, so I'll either pull that little one out or I will do 2 cages. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But over here, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of volunteer tomatoes. One back there. There's 2 growing right there. There's a little one right there. There's a big one right there. And there. And 2 there. So this was my tomato bed last year, I believe. And just a bunch of them are growing. Second bed. Here's our third bed. I bought these 2 tomato plants yesterday. They're varieties that are not varieties that I'm growing. I think that one is a chocolate sprinkle cherry tomato, and these are yellow pear tomatoes, so that's exciting. But this bed, even though it looks pretty bare, it has a lot growing in it. The plants are just really small right now. My son wanted to plant some beans in here, so we actually have 4 bean plants in here. And all throughout, you can see tiny basil plants. They're just all over in this bed. I planted them, I spaced them out, but they're everywhere. I wanted them to grow in between the tomatoes. Some of the ones that I planted, there's some tomatoes over there. Let me get on the other side of the bed. I don't like my shadow, it makes it hard to see. But here's tomatoes that I planted. And here's some tomatoes. There's one. There's some more. But again, lots of basil everywhere. So really excited that they're all up and growing. Here's another bean. But yeah, this is gonna be my tomato and oh, my pillow. This is my garden pillow, which I sit on when I'm weeding. But my tomato and basil plant patch that I'm pretty excited about. So there's the 3. This is our 4th patch. I'm gonna go on this side again. My son's beets. The bugs ate most of the carrots. There's only 3 little ones left. Then we have his broccoli, which is getting big. And my boys wanted, that's the last radish. That is a popcorn plant. So it's a variety that is grown just for making popcorn. And they wanted to try it. So I know corn doesn't germinate well. I mean, not germinate, pollinate well when there's only a couple, but they wanted to get it. So we're gonna see what happens. And we've got kale. Lots of kale here. 1 carrot. These are potatoes. I dug a little trench so that as they grow, I can hill on top of them and maybe give them some more room to grow. Not much going on here, just some weeds. Those are cabbages, I believe. We have, you see the scallions on either side of kale. These are beets. They're not doing as well as the other ones. They're still pretty small. And we bought this pepper plant. I believe it is sweet yellow banana pepper. And then flowers. They're not blooming yet though. So that's the 4th bed. This is our last bed. We have a few radishes left. These are broccoli. And then we have a row of beans along the back. Here is another bell pepper plant we just purchased yesterday. We have zucchini growing right there. And then my husband fixed up this trellis for us, this makeshift trellis, and we've planted cucumbers in there. And we have one, see him? Who's up? So I just planted, see that stick right there? I just planted some more right there. We're trying to do some succession planting. But that is it for this bed. You can see a couple of sunflowers growing in this compost pit along with a bunch of other stuff. We'll just, I don't know, I'm just gonna let them grow, see what comes out of here. And I believe those are spaghetti squash, is with some weeds, of course. That is my guess. Now, so that's the garden. And then along this fence, you can see where the rocks start. I have sprinkled wildflowers, pollinators. So there's a lot of weeds in there again, constantly weeding. I tried to transplant this poor sunflower, but a bug, you can see that hole in the side of it, a bug got to it and just killed it. It's dead. But I did transplant this one, which it's not looking too hot either. It just didn't do well. This is some dill that my son planted. A zucchini plant that I planted, but it's not looking the greatest. A little bit of thyme. See that right there? This is a sunflower that survived being transplanted. And again, we got a row of going to be wildflowers all the way to these rocks. And then of course, the flowers that are going to be growing next to the driveway. That's about it. That's what we got growing in May. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy when the flowers come. Sometimes it doesn't work out, like the radishes actually getting a radish. Sometimes the root just doesn't develop. So when that happens, when the root doesn't develop, or like with the broccoli, the head doesn't grow before it gets too hot, I like to let them flower. I love seeing the different types of flowers around the garden, and it brings in pollinators for the other plants, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I hope you are enjoying your gardening season, and I'm excited to show you what's happening in June. Hopefully the tomato plants will be a lot bigger by then. I hope you have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.